Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. 2020 was hard, wasn't it? And I don't think 2021 now is any easier. And I do think that we begin to cherish and appreciate things that give us comfort during this time and help us getting through it and keeping our life somewhat normal. We all have these anchors that we hold to while we feel anxiety or like the world is crumbling around you. And of course I have them too. Well, a lot of booktubers made like video of favorite things, favorite games, clothes, all the stuff. But I decided to do a video about my most favorite booktuber, who was, she doesn't know me, but she was with me all this time, and I felt like she held my hand and, give me a hug and tell that everything is right, everything will be fine, we are all in this together and we'll get through it. And so I decided to make this video as a tribute. I know maybe tribute is not the right word, but really I want to show my admiration and appreciation of this person, and this is Jen Campbell. Jen is a booktuber for many years, but also, well, first of all, she is an author, and she wrote few adult and few children's books, and also she is a huge disability advocate and talks about disability a lot on her channel. Also, she is talking a lot about topic that I am hugely interested in, and that's how I found her. She's talking about fairy tales and history of fairy tales and origins of fairy tales, and I want to make this video to say thank you, Jen. I like you, and you brought me and, well, bring me joy with every your video. So my plan is, I have here 3 books. 2 of these books ended up being one of Jen's favorites for 2020. They were in her favorites list. So one of them is Summer Water by Sarah Moss. It's exploration of England middle class in Scotland, I think, one dull rainy day and what different people think about each other or whatever. This was in Jen's favorites for 2020, but not in her top 3 favorites, but she talked a lot of good things about this one. I have the book that was Jen's favorite for 2020, The Bus Rock by Evie Wilde. Jen told that this is a story about 3 women in different times connected with one place, I think. And also I do have Jen's book here. So this is The Beginning of the World in the Middle of the Night by Jen Campbell. This is the collection of twisted short stories, and I bought it from her website and she signed it to me. Can you see it? To Irene, I hope you enjoy these twisted tales, Jen. And I bought it in 2020, and I was too scared to read it, but I definitely want to give it a go and talk about this book on my channel, because again, the author means a lot to me. So this is introduction. It will be like a vlog, so I'll return later talking about one of books from these 3 books. Hi, this is a few days later and I have read Summer Water by Sarah Moss. This is my first Sarah Moss, but definitely not the last one. I really like the author's style. This prose is very tight and every word is very meaningful and very important. It's not like full of details prose. This is all the details, and it's combined in this very straight, very pointed portrait of every person in this book, and also in the you know, this increasing nervousness in this book that goes up, up, up and ends in some kind of crescendo, or you know, it was definitely very impressive. But well, let's talk about synopsis first. This is a book about one day in holiday houses standing on the bank of a lake in Scotland. So this is Scotland, holiday houses. There are people stuck in there because it's raining for 10 days straight, and not only raining, it's pouring for 10 days. So people really can't do all the things they're supposed to do on the vacation. They can't swim, they can't go out for a walk, and they are stuck with their family members, which is not always welcome in the during holidays. And they, I don't want to say they became crazy, but they became more and more nervous about the situation. They became feeling claustrophobic, all of these people. And this is like a stream of consciousness of different persons from different houses thinking about their lives, about this isolation, about their families, and about, of course, their neighbors, because they are watching neighbors very closely and they're interested in their lives. While reading this book first, like up to the half, maybe up to the 2/3 of this book, I thought it would be my favorite book of the year, because this book has everything I like. The prose is just what I adore in novels, and it's not an easy read, because all these details that you pick make my mind almost exploded, because there are so many information you has to understand and gather in one page. But as a result, you have this very precise characterization of every person in here. They are all from middle class. They are aged from toddler to persons in their 70s, and they all have different personalities. Sometimes this book is very funny, sometimes this book is very sad, but also you have this, every person has some key to the, it can be a catastrophe in every family. For example, the woman who is running very early in the morning, she ended up, we know that she has health problems, heart problems. And so this is with every person. The boy in the kayak goes too far and it's hard for him to return. You know, every person do things that can end in the something very bad to this person or to others. And you have this feeling that something is coming, some catastrophe, some kind of something bad is coming. And I like this very much. It's a thriller without, you know, without being a thriller, without being a mystery or something. You just crawl to something scary. And now, but the center of the plot in this novel is one house which is rented to Eastern European immigrants. Every person from which head we are thinking about these immigrants point them to the different countries. So one tells this is Russian people, other Bulgarians, Romanians, Polish people. So nobody talk to them, nobody knows anything about them. These people talk different language. These people let their child wandering around without adults watching her, it's a girl. And most important, they throw these huge, very loud parties at night. And so babies can't sleep and adults find it very disturbing and unwelcomed. And so all these people think one way or another about these immigrants as of intruders, as of different kind of folks which do not belong here. And I thought it was, well, questionable choice in the novel for me, but I understand that it's about Brexit and author wants to point of, you know, in these minds of these people, how they think about immigrants. But then I was fine with it. It was not my favorite part, but I definitely was fine with it. But then in the, I think, third chapter from the end, actually one person talked to them and they ended up being Ukrainian family. So this is family of Ukrainian immigrants and they are in the center of this novel. And you may not know, but I am a Ukrainian immigrant in USA. And it was very surprising for me finding this in the novel, and I didn't like this experience. It's not author's fault and it's not novel's fault. It's my attitude that I couldn't stop. And as I told that I tried all these personalities as you all do while reading this on myself. So, for example, there is a woman running in the morning and she thought about how she wanted to travel more before she married her husband, and then she couldn't. And then there will be a mom of a toddler and a baby who had an hour for herself because her husband took kids, but she doesn't know what to do with it except of cleaning the house or going and find the kids and be with them because it's all her life. And I felt myself so seen with all this. I thought, how can this author understand me so well? And then in one moment, it's all ended. I was like excluded from this narrative. And I was like told, this is not about you. Your place is there. And with this woman who is very different, let's say that. Her clothes are different, her parties are too loud, she speaks to her kid and nobody understands what she's talking about, and if she would ended up being Bulgarian or Romanian, I would not feel like that. But as she's almost me, I felt like author put me in this place and told me that this is where you have to be. And it's almost like every fall I go with my girls to the circus. The circus come to Redwood City every year, and this is wonderful experience. And there is but there is a clown in there, and this clown every year pick one or two persons from the audience, and make jokes of them, and they go to the stage and he talk to them, and it's all very funny. Except my older, I can see every year like she just crumbles in her seat, trying to be absolutely invisible for this man, not looking at him, no making eye contact. And every time when he picks somebody else, there is like a sigh of relief from her, like, it's not me this time, bless this year, I am fine, I am safe. It's not me whom he will be talking about. And it was almost like that in there. So I was reading it, and then it was like, you woman from the second row, what's up with you, or why are you like that? And first I was surprised and I was struck with this, and I was furious for a moment for the author to give this concretity in there. I would like her to remain vague about the country of origin of this family. But as she pointed that it's Ukraine, and I have nowhere to go in this novel next. I was stuck in there, And if you read this, I will not give any spoilers. You know that this book, it's made me very sad at the end, and it gave me nightmares, like real life nightmares, about what my neighbors thinks about me, and about what can, you know, the possibilities of the outcome from this situation. I understand that it's Scotland and I'm in Bay Area and it's very different, but overall I felt like this author did the same thing that all these people did, while thinking about these immigrants as of intruders and of different kind of folks, giving them this strict frames of narrative. And what can I say? This is a wonderful book. The author is brilliant in there. The characterization is very precise and beautifully done, and it's really do something with your head. You are waiting for the bad thing to happen every minute. It's like a thriller, and I highly recommend this book to everyone except Ukrainian immigrants, because I did not like what this book did to me. Yeah, it made me very sad. I thought it would be my favorite book of the year, and now this is library book. I really want to give it back to the library as soon as I can, because I just don't want to keep it home, and I don't want to be reminded of this book and about this story. And yeah, so this will be one of the most memorable books of this year, but not the favorite. And but I am really interested in Sarah Moss' other's book. I really want to read something else. And again, it's not novel's fault and it's not author's fault that I ended up being Ukrainian immigrant. It just happened. And if I knew this from the beginning, I don't think I would read this. But I haven't, so I read, and now yeah. Thank you, Jen, for this book. It was definitely a very interesting experience and very complicated. And it's good. It's good when book is such thought-provoking. And yeah, I think it may be one of my favorite authors from now, but not my favorite book. Hi, hello, I'm here again, and I want to talk a little bit more about books, and particularly about this book that I've just finished today. But first of all, I want to talk a little bit about Jen again. Jen is an author, and she published 9 novels up to this day. There are a few works on non-fiction for adults, few works of fiction, short story collection, collections of poetry, and few kids' picture books. And she has a new one, 10 books, coming October 7th, and I've pre-ordered it, of course. This is perfect for Halloween, because this is a collection of grim, dark fairy tales. The name is Sister Who Ate Her Brothers and Other Gruesome Stories. And Jen has this field of interest. She is very interested in fairy tales and folk tales, and she makes speeches about them, and also she has a series on her channel talking about the origins and history and secret meanings of different fairy tales. There are Cinderella, Red Riding Hood, Peter Pan, Little Mermaid, and many others. And this is how I found her one day, because I am very interested in fairy tales too. And this is like my favorite genre. It's embarrassing to say, being 37 years old, but still. I like fairy tales from the childhood. And also I've read, not kids' versions, but real versions of fairy tales from the very beginning. So I read Brothers Grimm fairy tales, and Hans Christian Andersen fairy tales when I was 10 to 12, I don't know the age, and they mesmerized me. So while thinking what I can do for this vlog to make it more interesting for people who like Jen, or like to do something in tribute, I decided to tell about one of the fairy tales that is not very famous in the world except Russia. So it is very famous in Russia and we all know it from the very early age, but it's not spread enough in the world. So I thought it can be interesting, and I want to talk about Снегурочка. So Снегурочка, or Snow Maiden, because снег is Russian word for snow, is a fairy tale that first appeared in the 19th century in the works of Russian folklorist and ethnographer Alexander Afanasyev, who gathered more than 400 Slavic fairy tales in his works. And this story tells a story about older couple who were very happy married but have no kids, and they wanted a child very much. And so one day they decided to make a child from snow just for fun, and just imagining how their daughter can look like. So they made this little girl from the snow, and there was a peasant coming nearby, and he asked what they were doing, and they told him, and he tells something like, "Bless you be and your child." And when they finished doing this girl, she became alive, and they named her Снегурочка, as made from snow, and she began to live with them. She was growing, she was very beautiful. She had pale snow-like skin and blue eyes and yellow hair, and she was very, very beautiful and looked very fragile and gentle. And she was growing very fast, like in a few hours, in a few days. She was a grown young woman, so they were very happy, and they lived very happy for a few months. But as the winter ended and the spring came and then summer, she became more and more dull and unhappy and miserable, and nothing could make her more happy and more gay. And when one day girls from the village asked her to go with them for the fest, I do think it can be St. John's fest, because we have this tradition, young people in company, they jump above the fire, like across the fire. I did it myself when I was 15 maybe, and it's very scary but very great fun. And so they asked her to go with them, but when she jumped, she evaporated and became a cloud and go up to the sky and straight to the heaven. This is the end of the story. This story was taken by Alexander Ostrovsky, who was a playwright well known in Russia at the time, and he wrote this play called Снегурочка, but he changed the plot. In his story, she came to live with this oldest couple, but she was eventually a daughter of Mother Spring and Father Frost. And she was very interested in humans and people, and particularly she was interested in this young guy, Lel, who played the flute in the forest, and she heard him and she was very interested in this. And she came there, but she was not happy because she could not feel love because of her nature, like unhuman nature. She couldn't feel love. And then Mother Spring gave this gift to her, like a present. She could fall in love. But when she fell in love with Lel, she couldn't stand this heat of love, and she evaporated and went straight to heaven. So this was the play of Alexander Ostrovsky, and Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky wrote a beautiful music-like accompany to this play. And I put a link down below for the very small 3 minutes long piece just of music by Tchaikovsky, and you can feel how lyrical and sad it is, and I like it very much. So then later there was an opera by Rimsky-Korsakov called Snegurechka on the same plot, and also I will put a small piece, also 3 minutes or something of this below. But I mean, I do not know a lot about opera. I'm not I do not have this knowledge or understanding of opera, and I just don't like it. But it's very famous, and I hope you'll love it. So this is the Russian story of this fairy tale. But why we know it, except this is very famous fairy tale. Snegurechka now is a part of Russian Christmas and New Year celebration. Like in USA we have Santa Claus, we have elves and Mrs. Claus. In Russia, Father Frost is like alone. Nobody is with him, except of Snegurechka, who is his granddaughter, and she helps him. You know, she communicates with kids more, and on all these celebrations there is Father Frost, who all kids is very afraid of, but also there is a Snegurechka who talks to kids, who is very gentle and sweet and lovely girl, and she plays with kids, and she, you know, games, songs, all this stuff. In all the kids' plays, I think across the universe, is all the same during Christmas. So Snegurechka is like a major part of our lives growing up, and yeah, that's why we all know her and know her story. While trying to find some origins of this story, I found in Wikipedia, and I don't know, do you know this or not, there is an Arne Thompson-Urther index. So there were 3 scientists in different years. First was Finnish, second American, I think, and also German folklorists, who made this catalog, this like index, yes, for cataloging all the folk and fairy tales. If you look at this index, Snegurechka is the type 703, the Snow Maiden, but also is connected to the type 1362, the Snow Child. Now there is a lot of stories in Europe. There is France, Italy, Germany, about they're all very similar. This is stories about Snow Child. So there is a merchant or a warrior or just a man who likes to travel, and he travels a lot like 5-10 years, something like that. And one day he returns from one of his travels, let's say 10 years he haven't been home, and he saw a new kid in there, a new child, and he asked his wife, "What is this child? I was absent, so..." And she told, "It just happened, you know, I saw a snowflake or a snow icicle, and I just swallow it, and then the child was born. It's a miracle, it's a snow child." And the merchant does not believe her, but he tells her that it's okay and it's a miracle, and he does believe her. And then in a few years, when the kid grows up, he will tell that he needs that kid to travel with him. So he will go on a hunt or on a travel or whoever, like whatever. And then he returned without this kid. And when his wife will ask what happened, he told that he did not kill this kid, but this sun was too hot. And as we all know, this is a snow child, and he just evaporated. poof, and there is no child. And at this point I think we can make a connection to this book, because As Snow Child is a story telling about a man killing his wife's son and getting away with this, you know, quietly and sufficiently, and understanding that there is no harm to himself. This book is talking about, I want to say, toxic masculinity, but also about this power of man's world upon women and kids, which is pervasive and deep, and you can't go away from it, you can't hide from this manpower, and you just can wait and pray for this beating will be not too long or too horrible. And there is 3 storylines in here. 17th or 18th century of a young girl called Sarah who was accused of witchcraft, and he needs to flee from the danger, and there are people who hunt for her. And there are 2 equal parts of Vivian nowadays, who is sorting and cleaning the house in Scotland near the Bass Rock. The house that was in her family for a long time, and she is trying to make sense of her life, because she doesn't work anywhere, she doesn't know what to do with her life, she is very inefficient with it, and she doesn't know is it okay or does she need to persevere in some capacity. She doesn't have any relationships, he do not know what to cook for dinner, and she's a trash, and her life is a trash, and she is not okay with this, but somehow she is okay with this, and she is afraid of herself being fine in this trash life. And also we do have Ruth, who is her, I do want to say grandmother, but she is not straight relative. She was a stepmother for her father, so she is like step grandmother. So it was, I think, in 1950s. No, yes, aftermath of Second World War, 1950s, who is living in this same house with her husband and his 2 sons from previous wife who died. And she tried to make sense of her life, of her marriage, of being a mom, and of the society around her that is not very welcoming and is very strange and is full of toxic masculinity. And I do like the way this book was written more than I like the plot. I like the plot and I appreciate what it does, but also I like this book not only for this. It is a very quiet book, very nuanced, very attentive to details and to people's mood, and it is very gothic in its experience, like there are waves and a lighthouse, and there is this rock, and there is a beach, and there are a few dead bodies on the beach across this book, and all this is so cold and sinister and unwelcoming, and but also with this book being so quiet and so nuanced and so it goes under your skin. It also is very angry, and it tells these horrible stories of men doing very bad things to women, very straightforward, without shaming of any details, and this effect of the woman being so quiet and so unprepared to this life, and do not know what to do with all these surroundings, and men being so sure and so aggressive and so bad this contrast is very effective. I do not want to tell a lot about this plot, but there will be a murder here, and there will be a ghost in this book, and all this in addition to this intergenerational saga, and like intergenerational saga of the place. I like it very much. The only thing I do not like in this is the same thing I didn't like in Hamnet. I do not like when there is one woman who can save everyone in the room, and she has some witch-like abilities. I do understand that this is very effective for the narrative, and this is very effective for this book, because there is like this a girl accusing of witchcraft in 18th century. But also I do think this is lower the abilities and the place of all ordinary women in the same room. Like, they can't get along with this without this woman savior, woman hero, you know, like. And I just I do think that it's make this book less nuanced, more straightforward, but also more magical. So whatever you like. This is very sad book, and this is very dark book, but also it can be my favorite book of the year. This book is cold and warm at the same time. Also, it is not full of woman partnership in usual cheerful sense, like, you know, hey, we are sisters, let's come together. But all these women support each other in very quiet way and try to find important words in different situations. And I do think this book is very good. Yes, I liked it very much. I liked it definitely more than Summertime, the Summer Water, but I mean, in a different way. Also, the language in here is magical and nuanced, and I liked it also very much. So yeah, definitely win-win. So this is a second book with 5 stars in this vlog, and now I have only one book left, but I am very nervous about this one. This is Jen's work. This is The Beginning of the World in the Middle of the Night, a collection of Jen's short stories, and I do think a lot of them are inspired by fairy tales. So this I will read next. And now we actually went to the beach a few days ago, and I made a little bit of footage for you to include in this vlog. So I mean, I do think that North Sea, and I live in Northern California, so the seas here is rather cold, is suited to this book. So you may just enjoy a few minutes of ocean in here, and yeah, I will see you in the next portion of this video. Hi, I want to say that I finished this book and this is wonderful. I went into this expecting liking it, but I really loved it, like a lot. This is a collection of short story tales by Jen Campbell, The Beginning of the World in the Middle of the Night. These are tales about womanhood, about growing up, about fairy tales and fables, about disability and how the society treats disabled persons, about loneliness, about lots of things, definitely. But I want to say that I don't know how you do this, but while growing up, I still want to feel magic in the air. And I think deep in my soul, I still believe that there are mermaids somewhere in the middle of the ocean where people just can't see them. And there are, fairies. Every time I pick a rose in the garden, I expect to see a fairy inside, the bee. And this book captured this feeling very good. Like, some of these stories are magical realism, and so you can feel like the reality and the magic joins together beautifully and very smoothly. Some of these stories are pure fairy tales, and I think they are that kind that you just believe in them without telling yourself, oh, it's such a fairy tale, I have to believe this. No, they are very believable. I want to say that I can compare this to Hans Christian Andersen, his most dark stories, and also Neil Gaiman, I think, but with a feminine touch. So these books are very feminine. There is a lot about womanhood in here. And I liked it very much. While reading this, my favorite stories were Margaret and Mary, The End of the World. This is about Annunciation and about women's body and the right to do our, what we want with our body, not what men's or God's want to do with them. And I think within, this horrible Texas news, this is very timely. And also I liked The Beginning of the World in the Middle of the Night very much. It's about love and grief and loneliness, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful and very touching. I was shocked by Bright White Hearts and the vulnerability of the author, and Jen is very, she pours her heart into this. I was afraid of how vulnerable and open she was. But I read it yesterday, and so, day after, I do think that the story that will stay with me the most for a lifetime was Plum Pie, Zombie Green, Yellow Bee, Purple Monster. It's about disability and about strange kids and how society treats them. It's about friendship, and it's about plants, and there is a girl in there who grow petals in her mouth, and it's about colors and blindness. I think it's beautiful. It's very beautiful, and it's one of a kind. I never read something like it, and I liked it very much. So it was very, I don't want to say pleasant surprise, but I don't know, it was lovely. I wanted to say that this book is mesmerizing, and then I saw that in the blurb Claire Fuller told that I found myself mesmerized. So I do think that I will be silent in here because I don't want to repeat the same things, but this is truly magical in all senses, and it was very beautiful little book. Jen, you need to write more. I want a novel from each of these stories. I want to know more about each of these characters. Well, most of them. I want more, and please, can you do this? So let's do a little bit of housekeeping here. For this vlog, I read 3 books. First, Summer Water by Sarah Moss. This book was one of the 20th favorites books of Jen Campbell of 2020. I loved it, but also I was frightened with it, and it gave me nightmares, and it was not a very pleasant experience, so I gave it 4 stars. It's a 5-star quality book, but the experience for me was awful, so that's why 4 stars. Then I've read The Bus Rock by Evie Wilde, and it was definitely a 5-star. I loved this book very much. I loved how nuanced it was, how quiet it was, and at the same time how it was with very clear, very straight and very angry message for the humanity. I really liked it, and I like I like characters in this very much. I think the characterization is great, and and the language is very beautiful. And this book was Jen's favorite in 2020, and I can see why. Then I've read The Beginning of the World in the Middle of the Night. This is Jen's book, and I loved it very much. It's a 5-star read for sure. And not all stories in here are 5-star read for me, but 3 of them are like one of the most beautiful things I've read this year, and the whole book have its own, not be plot, but feeling from it, and I liked it very much. So it's 5-star short story collection for sure. This was a wonderful experience. What I want to tell from this. So, when you watch Booktuber, you can love it for being a great content creator, and you can enjoy its content. But at the end, you may not enjoy the same books as this content creator. I do think that my taste is similar to Jen's, so I really liked all these books. One thing for me, they were a little bit too feminine, a little bit too like woman literature. I think I'm sharper and less quiet in my nature. So I do think that, it's nice to read few of books of this kind through the year, but maybe I want my reading in the whole be a little bit more fun, a little bit less sad and gruesome. But it's the whole year, I can read a lot of books. I do think that Jen's taste is very sweet me very much. And I am looking forward to her new book that will be out October 7th. And I think you can pre-order it now, and it's a good thing to do, because in this in this quarantine thing, book publishing industry is struggling, so pre-ordering helps a lot. And of course I pre-ordered it like in the first week, I think. Jen told us about this book. It's a collection of gruesome fairy tales. It's perfect for October, and if it will be a little bit like this book, I think it would be beautiful. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed reading these books. Sorry for my language. If you don't know English, my actually 3rd language, so I'm trying to do my best. Sometimes I stumble between up to my words, and sometimes I say one word again and again, like interesting. I don't know why I do think this, but it's hard for me to find synonyms in my head sometimes. So again, please subscribe to Jen. She is wonderful. Thank you, Jen, a lot for being with me and with us all this 2020-2021 situation. And I think that if one of you will go to Jen's channel and stay in there forever, I have 16 subscribers here, so we are safe to say that if Jen will have 16 more subscribers, it would be great. Also, Jen has a Patreon where can you support her, and peek a little bit into her creative process, and also there is a book club here, so go check it out. And I hope to see another video very soon. Bye!